Hola, this is Ruchi Acharya, your Wingless Dreamer Podcast host. For those joining us for the first time, welcome to the Wingless Dreamer Publisher, a global literary community that celebrates poetry, short stories, and every living breath of literature. In short and sweet, if you're into mythology, history, culture, and heritage, who loves old buildings and museums and writing about it, this is the right platform for you. Today on Wingless Dreamer, we welcome a poet whose work refuses silence, refuses inheritance, and refuses to make rage polite. Candice M. Kelsey is the author of Another Place Altogether, an exquisite collection that moves across cities, generation, and inner landscapes, tracing what it means to leave, return, and remake oneself with intention. From Los Angeles to Augusta, Georgia, and back again, her poem examines how place, memory, and culture shape not only who we come from, but who we choose to become. Her work speaks from the body and to the body, breaking cycles of intergenerational trauma, confronting motherhood with curiosity and tenderness, and insisting on a love that is not inherited but consciously built. In her poems, daughter becomes truth tellers, mother become dragons, and self-compassion is an act of survival, not softness. We are honored to have you, Candice, with us today. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here, Ruchi. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. As I listen, I think, who is she talking about? And then I realize you're talking about me, and I feel so grateful. Yes, it's an honor to be here.
That's really kind of you to say that. And before we begin with intensive discussion on today's topic, well, firstly, congrats on your book launch. Can you please, I beg you, tell our dear listeners to give a whiff about what this book is all about?
Thank you so much. Yes, I am very proud of this book, actually. I feel like it's some of my best work. It really is the outpouring of years of but working and growing with my craft. But it's also the product of a pretty tumultuous time in my life that I think hopefully most women and even men can relate to, which is having to move from Los Angeles to the American South, adjusting to that culture shift, and really being confronted with the self and how the self responds to sometimes not positive surroundings. And so that experience of moving across the country really activated in me time to really reflect on how have I in my life responded to exterior stresses, and how have those influenced me, and in the end, really, how can I grow from that? How can I go from, oh, this is not comfortable, or this is not how I would like things to have gone, to moving into something productive? And for me, that's creating, that's writing. I'm hoping that in that writing, I'm transforming myself into a better human being, but I'm also welcoming others who have dealt with tough situations, who have dealt with redefining home, and find some sort of comfort in these poems.
That's beautifully said. And when you said that redefining home, it really brings me to a recent notion that I have discovered myself personally. Like, I have traveled, few countries, changes job here and there. But by the end of the day, you know what I realized? That home is you. I guess we all need to take a step back and to do self-analysis, and try to step out, take risk, get out of your comfort zone, take the challenge, because you if you can dare to see a dream, then also be dare to take steps to make it come true.
100%.
May I humbly ask you, like, how do we love without repeating harm? How do we stay present, awake, unflinching, when leaving would be much easier? Just walk out.
That's a huge question. I would love the answer to that. I mean, I think that it's all in the effort and the engagement. But I also think that there's this sentiment that I see a lot in many structures in my life, and former structures that I was a part of that I'm free from, and that is that we applaud those who stay because the act of staying is considered courageous. But at some point, I have to challenge that because I see the value in not just running, right? And not just leaving. It's interesting because my next manuscript that I have out is called The Biology of Leaving. And I'm really fascinated by leaving because I think in today's culture, my experience is don't leave, always stay, push through. And I get that. And a lot of that comes back to look at our parents who's stayed married for 50 years. In those situations, I say, well, let's talk to the wife. Let's talk to the female. Why did they stay? And was this a healthy decision? And was it about economic dependence, right? So, I think there are layers that we ignore when we say it's so brave of you to push through and what a hero for staying, where it is killing you. You honor your value and your worth because we all deserve to be able to be in a place where we can truly be authentic and pursue that which makes our life wonderful. I mean, we are alive for such a short time. We need it to be wonderful. And if you put in the effort and the engagement, no matter where you're located, you will have those strong bonds. But at the end of the day, we as women especially have the power to model self-worth. And I think that is what is missing in so many ways in patriarchy today, is we are challenged to just mold in and stay and fight through, even though it destroys us, right? So that's so much about what my book is about saying, I have the courage to leave, and that's not wimping out. That's not being irresponsible. That's saying, no, my life is worth pursuing joy and happiness, and it's not all about grit and resilience. I mean, that breaks a person down after a while.
Oh my God, that's so beautifully said, Candice. And yeah, I agree to you. And I think female rage is important because it is not destruction, it is information. It shapes you by telling the truth about where you were hurt, ignored, or made small, and by refusing to let the truth stay buried, because female rage rises when a boundary has been crossed repeatedly.
Yes.
Exactly. It teaches you where you end and others must stop.
Yes.
Without rage, many women stay overgiving, over tolerant, and underprotected, for the rest of their life. And this mindset needs to be changed because, see, women are often praised for endurance, how much they can take it in, how much they can bear it all, But rage is important because rage interrupts this pattern. It says that I will no longer survive quietly. That shift builds self-respect and reshapes how you allow the world to treat you.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
No, that's so true. So rage reclaims our she voice when you've been interrupted while you were giving presentation in office workspace, or when your emotions were dismissed, maybe by your parents when you were trying to speak out from your heart, or when you were doubted by your partners or your loved ones, when your intentions were really raw, honest, and true. So I think that female rage fuels the courage to speak anyway. At one point, even the most kind-hearted and soft-spoken women will burst. So again, I guess rage is important because it sharpens our language, strengthens our tone, and restores that authority to our voice. Because in rooms where you were taught to shrink, I totally agree with you. And like I was saying before we get started with the recording, that I'm so glad that finally someone has raised all these issues through her book. And I'm so that excited to get my own copy. So another place altogether, dear listeners, did not forget it. I will definitely leave the link in the bio description as well.
Thank you so much. I do want to say, though, I'm standing on the shoulders of other female poets who have led the way. And, specifically, my hero, Virginia Woolf, who really argued for a room of our own, right? And talked about if there had been Shakespeare's sister, how she would have been, violently assaulted and committed suicide and not allowed into the circles of, theater in London at that time period. And that inspire me. And I just really have to, give shout outs to, like Diane Seuss and Anne Carson, Sharon Olds, of course, Sappho, all of these women, that are writing today, Marie Howe, these are my heroes. And so while I want to take, your praise to heart, I also know that it's impossible without these forerunners.
Well, that brings me to my next question. So Candice, please tell us that when did you first realize that soft poetry wasn't enough to hold your lived experience?
Well, I don't know that there was any one moment, although I will say that in 2016, so much changed for me in how I viewed the world for various reasons, politically, personally, and that shift was jarring enough that it caused me to almost tear my hair out, and to the point where I said, okay, I'm not going to tear my hair out. I'm going to get my pen out. So I started writing awful poetry, but my word was that powerful for me. And I am such an advocate of writing every day, you know, those morning papers of just getting your thoughts out, or journaling. We hear it all the time, but you know, there's a reason we hear it all the time. It works. So I started writing to deal with just some shocking things that were occurring in my life and in the world and in my country, America. And that was really helpful. But you know, writing in many ways is a scary addiction. So then before I knew it, I was writing nonstop, and then started publishing, and you know, that took off, and it was a kind of a rebirth for me into a life that I think I was meant to live. And you know, I think over 200 poems published later, I couldn't be happier to be, you know, blessed with this role of writing and being in the writing community and meeting so many creative people.
Now that's true. Poetry has this magical power, you know, not only meant to soothe, but to confront as well at the same time. And again, it's so lovely, like, you know, hearing the praises for poetry, because again, there is this societal influx that anybody can be a poet, anybody can write. Yes, anybody can write, but legends are made through fluency, through constant hardship, and everyday showing up to perfect the art of curating, perfecting the art of writing skills and developing the creativity.
Absolutely.
So, yes, let me ask you, you know, many women and marginalized writers are taught to edit their emotions before they edit their words. So, how do you unlearn self-censorship, especially when your rage risks being labeled as unprofessional, unstable, or too much, or it's hormonal?
That is the question. Well, Ruchi, I would say first it starts with a reckoning of, you know, what your lived experience and your daily training was in your family structure, right? So I had to do the hard work of really investigating the family structure in which I was raised, which was a very gendered family structure where my brothers were treated quite differently than I was as the only female. And just in, you know, without blame involved at all, because I do believe that my parents were also victims of this patriarchal structure and they were doing the best they could. But I think interrogating your family structure and how that trained me, and one of the voices that was consistent in my upbringing was that I was too sensitive or too much. And I really, unfortunately, held on to that as my identity and as something to be ashamed of. And that doesn't end well. Living in shame and listening to the negative voices never ends well. So I came to a point in my life where I realized this is not serving me, and it's editing me. It's keeping me small. And the very thing that you're ashamed of or you feel is too much or too sensitive, the very thing that you think that you've been kind of diminished for, is the very thing that is your superpower. And that to me was mind-blowing and earth-shattering and transformative, really, because I thought, wow, so why am I sensitive? It's because I observe and I feel and I notice. And who are the people that use noticing and observation to be successful and to find belonging in this world? Those are the writers. Writers are observant. Writers are sensitive. And those are the people I was drawn to as an English major, as somebody who cannot read enough, so I looked to the writers and I saw Anne Sexton observing the world and writing what she saw and expressing the rage. And I thought, wow, she has the freedom to do that, and she's considered this icon of American poetry. And then Emily Dickinson, of course, and Phyllis Wheatley. I mean, these icons of poetry who did not just stay silent and did not shy away from or feel ashamed of noticing and feeling.
Very well said that. And there is this social stigma that if you accept your weaknesses, usually like men don't cry or women are too sensitive or don't be sissy, like
Right.
we are labeled as such. But trust me, saying it out loud is an act of courage, and only few people have the tendency to do so. It means choosing truth over comfort, exposure over silence.
Naming is so powerful.
So when you name your pain, it stops owning you. Are you getting it? And that is what people need to learn, because it will follow you like a shadow for the rest of your life. So it becomes something that you can face. Speaking your struggle is a quiet superpower. It breaks isolation, it invites healing, and gives others permission to breathe. Bravery isn't the absence of fear, it's more like it comes from within. When
Yes.
you accept your demons, when you stand up for yourself, because we are those kind-hearted people who will do anything for our loved ones. We will fight the whole world. But when you will fight for yourself, are you getting me?
And it's hard to fight for yourself if you don't know who the self is, right? If you listen to the other voices that define you and tell you what your self is, how can you stand up for that? So it's so vital to get to know the self and understand who you truly are. And I believe, for me at least, that writing poetry is what led me to understand myself. Yeah, I like who I am, and I have something to offer, and I have the right to take up space, and I have the right to speak my truth. And in fact, that is an act of solidarity with other women who perhaps have experienced the same situations I have. And how wonderful is that, to be able to join voices with other women in solidarity? And that, for me, is what poetry has done.
Truly. And trust me, I'm coming from India. And many Asian countries also feel the unfair justice of, like, there is a strong essence of patriarchy altogether. Like, our brothers are treated differently than how we were raised at. I don't blame my parents again, but it somehow shapes us to be fever. Like, why am I allowed less? There was this question back in my mind ever since I turned 12 years old. It's just now I'm vocal about it. Now I've turned into a woman, and now I can speak it out. Now I have my own, decision making process and yada yada. But I think female rage is more about unfair pay, the stolen credit, or emotional labor that we have been gone through, and it's like infinity. It's like it's not even considered as valuable. So the reason why we are speaking openly about it is because we want to be valued justice, dignity, and fairness in the society altogether. And somehow rage, it values a spine, a backbone. Because somehow patriarchy, it brainwashes us that it teaches women to be agreeable, accommodating, and apologetic for all the time.
Yes.
To all the dear listeners who are listening, just ask yourself why you keep on saying sorry. Why? Like, why your brothers are not saying sorry? Why your partner is not in habit of saying sorry?
That's a huge, absolutely. That was huge for me, that whole sorry issue. And people pointing out to me, why is that all you ever say? Sorry, 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 sorry. And it really was an eye-opening realization for me of, why am I saying sorry all the time? And why is that my default? And I've really worked hard, and it's not perfect. That somebody asks you to take on more labor, whether it's literal labor or, emotional labor, and to say no is enough, right? We don't have to say, well, no, I can't take that on because I have this, that, and the other thing to handle. No, nobody needs to know why. We have the right to say, no, this is my boundary. There's no other information needed. Like, that's enough, right? And so I think that's where sorry comes in too, is that we feel like we're letting someone down, or that we are not fitting what they need. And so we apologize for it. And it's so toxic, right?
That's so true. Like, we need to unlearn self-censorship, heavily self-criticizing ourselves all the time. Because for a moment, just think, your mind, it can be your best friend or it can be your greatest enemy. So you need to unlearn what basically society has taught us. Maybe the voice will be feeble, but that beating heart inside you that have lots of courage to fulfill your dreams, to achieve whatever you desire, and at the same time being compassionate to others, being lovable to others as well. So again, it's all about balance, and you don't need a man to live that.
Right.
That brings me to the next question. So, Candice, in real life, rage often costs us relationship, opportunities, or safety. So, has writing rage ever cost you something tangible?
I think so. My first collection, which came out in 2020, called Still I Am Pushing, that was really anchored in a response to two people in my life who I believed were not treating me correctly. And it was reckoning in my emotional understanding of that, my complicity in allowing myself to be treated a certain way. And I think that while one person received it well and it healed our relationship, another person was not ready to read those poems. And it hurts. It aches a little for me in that it was more of a dividing moment than a unifying moment, where I really thought that this writing about situations that were hurtful would be a unifying moment for me and that person, and boy was I wrong. So it was a learning experience for me. Even though that did cause hurt and a real rift, a rupture really in a relationship, it forced both of us to reconsider how we want to move forward. And that takes time. And so, it's been almost 6 years since that collection came out. And in those 6 years, so much growth has happened. And that person and I think, are in a good place right now, and we understand each other. So I have a poem that deals with talking to my grandmother, who was a victim of patriarchy, who then passed that on to my mother, who then passed that on to me in unhealthy ways. And I believe that is a good spot in my evolution of understanding my mother and understanding the toxic, generational tentacles of patriarchy and how they shape our relationships with the key women in our lives, like a mother or a daughter. And it also forces me to look at how I'm raising my own daughters and how I interact with them, and which has not always been easy. And I feel like I'm at a much better, much more compassionate, self-interrogating place than I was 6 years ago.
That's true. And again, see, we all are humans. We are tends to make mistakes. Nobody is perfect. There is no human being on this planet Earth, not I'm aware of, who have flourished the art of living. We got one life. There's always ifs and buts. There are many factors involved for anybody to take so and so decisions. You won't believe, the other day I was just sitting and thinking, before the 2026 years began, I didn't want to carry the baggage of the emotions for all those years, 20s and stuff. The most important thing that matters is accepting your mistakes. And trust me, holding yourself accountable is enough. And with that brings to one Sanskrit shloka in our Hindu mythology. There is this saying called Swadosh Swikar Eva Paryaptaha. So basically, it translates to accepting one's own fault is itself sufficient.
Oh, can you say that again? I love that so much.
Yes. Swadosh Swikar Evam Paryaptaha. I will definitely email you as well.
Please.
And it's so important to understand. Monks, the pandits, they really hold it to their heart. It's true, because what it's really translating to, through accepting one's faults alone, purification happens.
Yes.
Softer, reflective version of yourself, a better person comes out of it. Just now, how you said that through your poetry, through your writings, you felt like you are giving birth to yourself. It's whole new you. So you are becoming aware of your own fault, and it's the path to liberation.
Yeah. The poet Warsan Shire, I'm a huge fan of hers. I think one of her collections was called Giving Birth to My Mother. And I've just loved that title because really I feel like that is what we daughters can do. You know, we can reimagine and release our mothers from the responsibility of their mistakes because we understand where they were coming from, right? That's a huge, I think, step in feminist growth, is understanding our mothers, coming to terms with it, not changing our boundaries, of course, right?
Yes.
Also understanding what system they were raised in as well.
As curators and writers, what do you think? How do we distinguish between rage that is performative and rage that is necessary?
Oh, it's a really good question. So one of my favorite poems in this collection is called Ode to Ms. Pac-Man. And I think this is a good answer to your question. Poetry by nature is to be sung, right? It's to be heard. So I think inherent to all poetry is that performative aspect of it, but not performative in the sense of I'm just virtue signaling or I'm just being theatrical for theatrical's sake. I think for a poem to be as poemy as possible is to balance the fact that yes, it is going to have a musicality. Yes, it is a celebration of the ordering of words and images, but at the heart of it, it has to be an authentic experience that's worth putting into the world. So in Ode to Miss Pac-Man, there are some shock value elements to it. So in that poem, I take that maze of Miss Pac-Man in the video game as a metaphor for our lives, right? As a mother, you're in the hospital corridor, we're out in the streets where men can harass us. It's survival, and Miss Pac-Man is always moving, right? Because stopping can be deadly. So yes, by the virtue of being female, by the way, the patriarchal world receives us as performance, which is so frustrating, right? So that's a whole nother topic, but I do think that every poem should have an element of awareness that this is to be performed, this is to be shared out loud and read and heard, but that again has to come from a place of authenticity and not about just theatrical entertainment, really, right? So
that's so true, and I'm understanding, and I would love to read this poem right after this podcast straight away. Ode to Miss Pac-Man. I do get you when you told me about safety is always an issue, no matter whichever country you are in. It comes naturally, and it is frustrating, it is annoying, and it is snatching away everything, that peace of mind especially. And ask me all about it. Like, I'm a woman who travels back and forth, and most of the time I love to live in solidarity because I don't want to get invested so much with emotions by tying knots with every other person here and there. So I'm extremely selective to who I chose to invite in my inner circle, to whom I would like to confide in. So again, this patriarchy, it's a system where power, social, economic, political, it's all concentrated in men's hands. So whether we are talking about justice, whether we are talking about getting selected in an interview or anything, they are the leading factors. And again, what about the qualities? What about the skill set that I'm bringing onto the table? What about the important factors that what you look in male candidates? Why are you distinguishing female to male candidates? Why we are not on equal platform, And again, there is a threat of violence all the time. Yes,
the female body is always already in danger, and that's just a fact of life, right? People ask me, how do you get an idea to write a poem, first of all? And my response is always, I'm female.
Yes.
The female experience is a constant state of heightened nervous system.
Yeah, Candice, this is not paranoia. It's statistically supported globally. We go through physical, sexual, or emotional harm. And women are often judged or blamed for the actions of men around them. Dress codes, behavior norms, and victim blaming, make expressing freedom risky. At work, women often encounter harassment, gaps, and a lack of representation in leadership. But at the home, she's the one who's actually leading. So open your eyes, gentlemen. She is taking care of everything from house to work to children to, taking care of herself.
Open your eyes, gentlemen. Ruchi. Because
So,
in many ways, eyes are open, but what are you're looking at the wrong thing. But it's really, it's misogyny operating through the logic of domination without any sort of accountability to men. I
yeah.
see that as an educator too. I see how I teach at an all-girls school, and I see how my female students are self-censoring, right? They're tone policing themselves before anyone else even does.
Yes, yes. That's so true. I think it's an internalized fear, generations of warning, advice, and caution. Don't walk alone at night. Trust carefully. Don't fall in love. What not? This ingrained a baseline anxiety about safety. Even in mundane spaces like home, work, streets, women are constantly calculating risk. Like, should I walk to that path or not? It's empty, but no, should I walk? Whether it's daytime, nighttime, doesn't matter. Like, it has a forest or a street. Like, should I? Like, and trust me, men, they don't have to ever think about it because, like I said, it's men's world. And this is exhausting, because safety isn't guaranteed anywhere. And again, so we are in this constant behavior of like calculating risk all the time. There are only few places where we do feel a sense of freedom and safety. For example, I love going to clubs. I love dancing, because it's a safe
I
space
love dancing too, yeah.
with my friends, and like I can let myself go freely. But again, that also be sometimes considered as like downtrodden. That also backfires, that you are dancing way too much for attention. Dude, no, I'm here for myself. I really work hard long, like the whole week. This weekend, I deserve happiness. I'm gonna party out loud. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna, sing out loud. Let it call it crazy. Let it be, because anyway, the world is judging, so I don't care.
Right. But I love that how you say it's for yourself. Absolutely. When I was, I think college aged, I love to work out. I love to sweat. I love to exercise. That's like dancing to me. It just brings me so much joy. And I remember a male friend of mine said to me once, wow, you're so disciplined with your workouts. That's so great that you really care about how your body looks. And I stopped him. Even though I was pretty young at the time, I stopped him and I said no, because I knew that didn't feel right. And I knew that's not why I was working out and training. I said, no, it has nothing to do with how my body looks. I do this for me. This feels good. I like feeling healthy. I love seeing what my body can do, how I can push my body. And, I feel like while we're navigating just being safe and staying alive as women, right? We're also expected to deliver beauty and deliver a certain beauty standard to the world and to men, right? Like, we owe the world a certain body type.
That's so true. That's so true. And guess what? Here's the paradox. Like, operation can also spark resilience, creativity, and leadership. So now we are in so habitual, like women learn to navigate unsafe spaces, which often makes them actually resourceful. Now we are so resourceful. Now we know how to solve the problem. We are more strategic than men. We are more emotionally intellect than men. That's the paradox of the whole situation. Like, you want to pick up the fight, bring it on. Now we will learn, we will adapt, we will learn. So now look at us. Where are we? Where, like, women build networks of support, mentorship, and activism. More than my male friends, my female friends, they have this female rage. Like, my male friends, I cannot say 10 on 10 that if they see some social injustice, whether they will pick up the fight or not. But if I'm hanging out with my girlfriend, she will definitely gotta give a bash or at least speak out loud. This is not right. This is social injustice. Nope, no means no. So we are somehow creating a safe environment, a safe society.
Absolutely. And it's forcing, what I'm viewing and witnessing from my small corner of the world is that it's pushing the concepts of masculinity to revise and to reshape and to reform and to transform. And that's beautiful because, I even see it with my own son. The toxic masculinity that is being reignited in my country, at least, but that existed for decades, it doesn't work anymore. Women are redefining themselves, are stepping out, are using their voices, are advocating for bodily control or saying no to patriarchy. And we're writing and we're developing economic independence. And so if we don't need to rely on a man for economic, support, then what do we need men for? Well, that's pushing into the reality of men need to be good people and supportive and emotionally present. And they need to actually value, support, and engage with women. So it looks different now today because women's needs are different. Like we don't need the economic support mostly, it's shifting.
It's a fast changing environment, that's for sure. And I hear you. Of course, men have a huge role in shifting the patriarchy from a system that makes women unsafe,
Right.
to one that allows equality and respect. So it's not just about being nice, it's about actively challenging the structure and behavior that uphold inequality. For example, stop questioning women's experiences of harassment, discrimination, or abuse. Like, why are you questioning it? Like, it's not like I wake up the other morning and no, today I'm gonna play like woman card or create a fake story. No, dude, that's not true. So stop questioning women's experiences. Validate their feelings without immediately like mansplaining or defending or minimizing. Again, it all comes down to hold accountability. Like that's what I keep on telling to my younger brother and my boyfriend, that examine how your words, jokes, or action might reinforce stereotypes, or control that's prevailing in society. Like, stop objectifying women, stop making jokes about them. Like, there are plenty of things in this world, and jokes can be funny without degrading women. So avoid casual sexism.
Exactly. And there's, for me, there's like 4 categories of how a man should react to casual sexism, right? There's the man who engages in it or who promotes it and puts it into the world. There's the man who then laughs at it and applauds it, right? Then there's the man who just stays quiet, right? And says nothing and allows it to happen, right? None of those are acceptable. They're all equally complicit in my eyes. Where's the 4th man? And that's the man I think we're seeing come up. And I'm hopefully, raising my son to be that man who says, hey, stop, that's not okay. Don't bring that casual sexism anywhere near me. That's the man we need.
That's true. I hope such men exist. It's so much needed. The world will be a better place. We all can live cohesively. And then, once you start uplifting women, you see the magic. Like, you keep on saying why women are always angry or this and that. Because you guys made us in the first place. Like, if I believe, like, if the world can provide us a safe space, then why would there be outrageous reaction? It may sound very fairy tale-ish, I know, but just imagine, like, there will be more love. And I guess the world needs more love, especially in today's world with so much is happening around.
The beauty of poetry, female voice coming through in poetry that doesn't soften or, edit the truth. For a male reader, I think it's important for them to see the rage, to read about it, to be forced to say, wow, that's that person's experience. That's not okay. How can I partner with women to make sure that this type of system that produced that rage stops?
So it is, of course, utterly important and crucial to highlight feminist anger through poetry, through literature, because it's not only about today's generation, but this is how the history will remember. This is the truth. It will be written in the golden pages of history, how the womanization have shaped over the century. And it's our truth, it's our responsibilities, both men and women from all sort of backgrounds, countries, wherever they come from. It's our responsibilities to unify and stand up for the social injustice which is being faced by women, to stand up for the moral values.
Absolutely. And what you're saying, this responsibility is, I'm such a huge believer in witness. We have to witness. I mean, writing these poems is witness to the situation of women during, in my small little world and experience. It's an act of witness, poetry.
All right. Candice, oh my God, this is such a wonderful conversation, and I really wish I'm going to take the next flight to Los Angeles, and we're going to sit across the coffee table and just sip the coffee and just go on and on.
Oh, Ruchi, I would love that. You have no idea. That would be so amazing.
It's
Or I
so
can
lovely to share this solidarity in unison. Like, you have no idea. Even thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here.
You really, it's been such a delight, and thank you so much for all you do.
No, that's lovely. Well, we are still not done yet. There is a rapid fire round, and you have to answer without thinking.
Oh, I'm so okay.
Let's get started. Here
Got
we
it.
go. Cold brew or green tea?
Green tea.
Midnight writing or early morning muse?
Early morning muse.
Poetry written in rage or in love? Anyone?
I'm gonna say rage.
There you go, atta girl. On Valentine's Day, I would love to buy an expensive gift for my partner or write a poem to him.
Oh, write a poem. Easy.
Okay. Would you prefer a happy ending in your novel or a die in suspense ending?
Happy.
When no one is watching, do you like to read aloud or read in silence?
I read in silence, but I might try that. Okay. Yeah, silence.
Okay. Are you more a mountain person or a beach person?
Beach every day, all day.
If you're not happy with your writing, would you rather delete it all and write from scratch, or you re-edit it 10 times?
Re-edit it 10 times 10 times 10 times.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't. I'm a minimalist in life, and I don't keep anything I don't need to keep. So I'm not a hoarder at all. I'm quite the opposite. But with my writing, I can't delete. I have to keep all of it.
And that's the way to go. I hope you have watched this. Harry Potter or Game of Thrones?
Neither. I'm so sorry. I can't do either.
I know it's a hard one.
Forgive me.
Okay. Is there like 10% here and there?
Okay, yeah, maybe Harry Potter 10%. Just for the wild creature. Yeah.
Okay.
And the talking snake or whatever it was.
Okay. Which one are you? Highlighting the book with a highlighter or keep the pages of the book pristine clean?
Oh, no. Highlighting, breaking the spine, circling everything in different colors, writing all over it.
That's so me.
I knew it.
Like reading is just not, a vocal experience. It's like you're living through the book.
It's a conversation with the author.
Yes, indeed. And even the secondhand books, like you're passing the
Yes.
conversation to the next. Yeah.
I love used books because I love to see other people's notes, even their grocery list or a random phone number or anything. I just love it.
It's fun, especially local libraries. That's the place where you find it. So choose one. A bottle of perfume made of new pages of the book or wine distillery. Like fresh
New
wine.
pages of a book, for sure. The best.
Would you like to gain fame under strict publishing contract, or would you like to gain creative freedom well celebrated in local library by readers?
Ruchi, that's a hard one. I guess I would love that big contract, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, post breakup, I'm more forgive and forget kind of person, or let's take the brutal revenge.
No, forgive and forget, for sure. Forgive and forget.
Okay. Are you a cat person or a dog person?
Cat all the way. Cat.
Okay, the last one. Finish the sentence. While writing, I'm never ever afraid of.
Using lazy verbs.
Hmm.
That's a hard one.
Yeah. Well, on that note, your rapid fire round is over. And give a big pat on your shoulder. You did great. Well, on that note, yeah, we have to conclude this podcast, unfortunately. But before we go, Candice, please, is there anything that you would like to share with our dear listeners, who are going through a wide range of emotions, especially to our young female readers, writers, and curators who are entering into this creative industry with lots of passion, in their heart?
Absolutely. Really carve out space in your life for intergenerational relationships. Those are so affirming and fulfilling to have a friend that is 20, 30 years older than you, a mentor even, or even just somebody from the older generation that pours into you and cares for you and loves you, as well as somebody who's younger. And I'm talking about women that you don't have a family or professional obligation to, but simply people intergenerational that are relationships that are just purely about supporting and relating and being together. I think that's super important. So have that person that is not of your generation. And then I would say have your morning song, have your hype song, and it can change over time, but you've got to have that hype song, that anthem that gets you through the day.
Well, that's really beautiful, Candice, and thank you so much for joining me today on this wonderful podcast, and the pleasure is all ours to have you.
Absolutely. Ruchi, this has been fantastic, and I thank Wingless Dreamer so much. What an honor.
So to all the dear listeners, please do not forget Another Place Altogether by Candice M. Kelsey, now available on Amazon.com. You can find the link in bio. Do share. It's an exquisite collection about resilience, about remaking yourself with intention. And Candice, she did an amazing job. The book itself asks hard questions, that how do we reparent ourselves? How do we love without repeating harm? And how do we stay present, awake, and unflinching when living would be much easier?
Thank you. My pleasure.
Towards the end, dear listeners, female rage poetry is no longer asking for permission. It is no longer whispering, no longer apologizing for taking up space. Today, poetry carries rage as wisdom, feminism as truth, and language as resistance. It remembers what bodies have endured, what voices were silenced, and what histories try to erase. So to every writer listening, your fury is not a flaw. Your softness is not weakness. Write from scar, not the performance. Write what makes you unsafe to ignore. The world does not need quieter poems. It needs honest ones. So write without apology and write as survival. So on that note, I'll conclude this beautiful podcast with Candice M. Kelsey, and see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.